Hey, welcome back to my channel. As you guys may know, I'm creating apps as a way to quit my 9-to-5 software engineering job. Let me share with you guys my update on the app. This is a Pomodoro Chrome extension. What I did recently was update the grove. So basically how your trees look like. The theme is cherry blossoms. So my idea is to have different cherry blossom varieties that you can grow. If you click into the trees, you can see all the trees that you've grown and what level you're at. In my previous videos, I've got comments to make the app pretty simple. I know I've been focusing on the UI so much, but I think for this kind of app, the idea is pretty simple, but the UI is what makes it different and what makes it stand out. And so that's kind of the reason why I've really focused on how it looks and feels. And with this being a cherry blossom theme, I think it's pretty important to focus on the look and feel. I'm still in the building phase and I haven't made a dime on this yet. The goal is in the future is to make this as a mobile app and eventually, get some revenue that way as well. Lately, I've been thinking about setting a, quit date for leaving my 9-to-5 job as a software engineer. I looked at the calendar recently and kind of planned out what is the best time for me to leave, and it's around this time next year. Now, I'm not saying that I would be making as much money as I will be around this time next year when I quit, but I think the goal is to, get as much resources as I can from this job and then start going full-time in building apps. This date is more about how much I can pull out from my job and then go off my savings to start being full-time building the apps like these. I know I won't be making as much as I can compared to the salary that I have at this job, but my goal right now is to get my first paying customer and eventually down the line, have enough income to cover my rent, because just having a roof over your head is pretty important. So I got to get back online for work, but right now I'm just gonna get a quick drink. For those who are new, I'm a software engineer in the security space. There are a lot of code that are really permissive in our code base. What we do is we protect those permissive codes. So we govern those elevated permissions in the security space. Honestly, security wasn't really the space I was really considering. I know in this world of software engineering, there are so many different roles that you could take as a software engineer. You can be on the front end side, you can be on the back end side, security side, so many different angles and verticals that you could take. I could be happier in a different role, in a different space that I'm more interested in, but to be honest, leaving the 9-to-5 job for me isn't about that. It's more about doing the things that I want to do. But also working in corporate for 4 years now, there are a lot of things that prevent you from really expressing yourself and going above and beyond what you want to do. So I could switch jobs to a different area that I enjoy. I could switch internally or go to a different company. But at the end of the day, it's gonna be the same corporate talk, corporate environment. And you also have to suck up to the leadership above you. And living that life isn't for me, to be honest. I think I would rather prefer being my own boss, finding success in my own hands, and being in control of the destiny that I have in the future. I know there are a lot of risks in doing that. I won't have the salary that I have now, which is pretty cushy, and I won't have benefits like healthcare and 401k matches that make sense to have at this moment in my life. The first 2 years of working in corporate, I knew it wasn't for me. I didn't like the culture, the people, the talk there. And the only way out for me that makes sense was to, do something of your own. And so creating these apps are a way for me to escape my 9-to-5 job and hopefully get up to the goals I mentioned earlier. Okay, so now I have stand up and then I'm gonna make some lunch later. So here's something I haven't really talked about. Before moving and living alone in this apartment, I was living with my mom the past 4 years. And during that time, I was grateful enough to save and invest most of my salary. I advocate for living with friends or family, if you can, to save while you're young, but also embrace independence and having your own space. Now that I've moved, I've got rent, bills, and many other monthly expenses to handle. So my plan to pursue app development with no job, but also keeping my expenses low, is to move back with my parents or find much cheaper rent around me. That way I can worry less about my expenses and finances, live off my savings, and focus more on building, marketing, and everything that goes into all of that. In the worst case, if the apps I build don't go anywhere and my savings runs out, I can always go back to corporate. But I have a feeling that once I leave, I won't ever go back. So you can say I'm pretty bullish on making this work out. It's been getting hotter and hotter each day, so going on walks nowadays is kind of tough. I either have to go in the morning or in the evening after dinner. Anytime in between, it's just too hot. Man, I would rather stay inside. Ever since pursuing app development and going on the solopreneurship journey, I've been documenting ideas that just come into my mind, writing them down in my Apple Notes. Let me try to pull some up here. I have like a basic format to fill in for each idea. And it's a simple problem solution format, who the target audience is, the features, how I can monetize it. I'm not too sure if I want to focus on a certain niche. For example, some people only focus on like productivity apps and they keep building iterations of that. Might be smarter that way since you kind of know the area. But for me, since I'm starting out, I do want to venture out and see what's performing well and what I can capitalize on as well. If you guys don't know, there's a bunch of calorie AI apps. To use that app, you basically scan or take a picture of your food and it uses AI to give you an approximate answer of what the calories are and what the macros are in that dish. If you search in the App Store right now, you can probably see a ton of those apps and it basically does the same thing. What I actually found and heard from other developers who are successful was that they didn't recreate the wheel and they just took an idea that worked, gave it another iteration, and that app that they created was able to generate them some money because there's already a market for it. And so that's kind of my angle at this point. I don't want to recreate the wheel. I'd rather create a different angle of what already works and implement that and see how it goes. It doesn't sound too exciting since it's essentially like a copy of something else. I would rather try to see if the idea works and then I can venture out to some more unique ideas out there. So busy just working on my app and other stuff I need to get done to the point where I don't even go outside that much. I moved from California to Reno and I was considering Las Vegas, but there wasn't much nature in Las Vegas that I really liked. So that's kind of why I chose Reno, because there's a lot of hikes. It's very outdoorsy. There's a lot of streams and lakes to fish at, but I haven't done much of that. Last weekend, I went on a hike and fished a bit, but that was like the first time ever since I moved here, so like in 3 months. But I think it pays off because, you know, I'm lucky to be in this area and have the opportunity to go to those places. Whenever I do have time to go on a break and take a hike, I can actually go to a pretty nice hike or a pretty nice lake and really enjoy that place and soak it all in. But that's definitely something I'm gonna need to practice more. I do want to work on my app and have dedicated time for that, but also enjoy the nature and the outdoors here in Reno. Yep. What do you think I should put in the smoothie?
Mango, milk, and protein powder.
Mangoes. Greens. I recently got this Vitamix and it was at a discount. It's one of the refurbished ones. And then also on top of it, got my Chase discount off this. And then also my employee discount. Came out to be like 250 bucks, which is still kind of expensive. I know Vitamix goes for a lot more, but to get like half off was pretty worth it. This turned out to be a green smoothie with mangoes and not necessarily a mango smoothie, but I think I'm okay with that. It definitely tastes like super greens with a hint of fruit. Get some milk in there. It tastes like super greens. It's all right. It's not that bad. What do you think?
A bit too much vegetables.
So we got some okonomiyaki, and some soup, Italian wedding soup. One of the best dishes to eat if you're on a diet is okonomiyaki. Just make it without all the flour and stuff. So it's essentially just cabbage and eggs, and then I added bacon in mine. I swear it's getting harder and harder to stay focused in the evenings, especially during summertime. I planned on getting this app done by the end of the summer, and honestly, I think that's very possible, but at the current pace that I'm building, I feel like I'm barely gonna cut it. I mentioned before that my goal was to actually create a mobile app of what I created here as a Chrome extension so that I can, be familiar with the mobile app development kind of sphere and apply what others have learned in the mobile app development process. I used to not think too much about mobile app development, but once I understood how much people are using their phones and how much people are actually downloading apps to use and how your phone is really a companion to you. There's a lot less friction when using apps on your phone compared to pulling something up on your laptop. And notifications are just a big thing on your phone. Whenever you get a notification on your phone, it's something that you always look at. And having your app send out notifications to the users is a pretty big thing because that will increase retention and lead them to coming back to your app. So yeah, it's a whole ecosystem that I haven't learned and I really thought was overrated. But the more I looked into it, I really understood how powerful mobile apps could be and why so many people are pretty successful in building apps. So I'm gonna call it a day today. It's a pretty long day and I'm pretty exhausted. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you in the next one and I hope you have a good one.